It's 2 o'clock, but we'll wait a couple minutes for a few more people to join. Is everyone expected to come, or are there some time difference issues for Charlotte and KJ maybe? Miranda, do you know?
Hey.
Hi.
I think Charlotte and KJ will not be here. Today we have Jake here.
Okay, yeah. The representative.
Yes. Nice background, Jake.
All right. Okay, so still waiting for some couple more. Right. Should we get started anyway?
Thunder.
Yes.
Thunder, I think.
Okay.
We should start.
So we'll get started. Maybe a few more people will join us soon. Most of you already know me. I'm Megan. I'm one of the TEFL advisors. I was a TEFL advisor last year as well. So this is my second year with Fulbright, and I've been in Taiwan for almost 8 years now. So I've taught in a bunch of different situations in Taipei, and then last year I was also teaching at a junior high in Taichung. So sort of had a little bit of the ETA experience that way. And I met a lot of ETAs and visited a lot of schools. So I've seen a lot of the different contexts, but of course, not necessarily your context. Some things might be new this year, and we hope that you can keep with the new ETF program. So we hope that you can be flexible, like you always are, and approach this with the right attitude. Before we start, so today's workshop is about back to school, and we only have 50 minutes, so it's going to be very it's a lot of things to cover in a short time. And we decided to do it in the form of a board game as a way to review and kind of discuss some of the things that you probably already know, but maybe could use a little bit of a refresher. But first, let's have maybe Effie introduce herself to you guys. She's going to also be working with us this year.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Effie. I'm one of the new advisors, and I'm gradually learning more and more about all the different contexts, and looking forward to learning more about your specific context, of course. I'm excited to be here, and we have a really great game for you today. It's kind of a refresher for me as well. I've taught mostly in higher ed, and even before the pandemic, I was teaching asynchronous online courses. So I have more experience along those lines, but my background is in TESOL, so looking forward to this year, this very interesting year. And I think we can just go ahead and jump right into it.
Okay, so I will be sharing my screen, so I won't be able to see you. Let me know if you can see. Is that okay?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay. So we were going to put you into teams originally with your video group, but since Jake's partners aren't here, maybe Jennifer can be with Jake, and then that's 4 groups of 2, right? Or Effie, can you see them and divide them into groups?
Yeah, we were thinking in your for your video presentation groups was the easiest, but then there's one group that's probably gonna have less people in it.
So it could be like Jen can be with Jake, and then that's 4 groups of 2, right?
And then KJ and Charlotte are in the US, so I think that group only has 1.
That's Jake.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah. So team 1, who would like to be team 1? Or Effie, can you call on them?
Sorry, let me just get situated. So we could just go down the list of the video groups.
Mm-hmm.
Let
So team
me-
1.
So I guess team 1 could be Jake's group. Would that
Okay.
work?
So Jake and Jen. Okay, so you guys,
Mario group.
do you have a preference for which character you want to be?
Which one's Goomba, Daniel? I don't know. It's
Fourth one?
the 4th one. Okay.
Which one?
So that's
Okay.
Daniel and Sean, right?
Okay. All right, they can go first.
I feel good about that.
Yeah. All right. So Daniel and Sean, or Pi and Sean are ready for number 6. All right. So there's a question. Either one of you can shout out answers, and then we'll see if we agree. So the question is, share one effective way to give instructions.
I would
there's not
say
necessarily one right answer.
using a
not
lot of
even-
gestures
Okay.
along with very simple, concise English words.
Excellent.
Yay!
All right.
Perhaps having a PowerPoint behind you with like a picture of what you want to happen. Like if you're trying to get like desks arranged a certain way, you can have like the image of how you want the classroom to look, like as you say what you want.
Excellent. So we using gestures, using modeling, using PowerPoints. Any other team have any things they want to add to that one? Simple words. All right. Okay. Next team. Who's ready with the character? Who's next? Effie?
I can be Toad.
Okay. Who's that?
This is Emma.
Okay.
And I think that my partner is Eldina.
Okay. All right. Or name as many co-teaching strategies as you can think of. I don't know why it does that.
Wait, are we doing what is a lesson objective or name as many co-teaching strategies?
No, it's
So
not.
like
Hold on.
methods of co-teaching that you can think of.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
You could teach split the class in half
Uh-huh.
is one method. You could also teach everything at the same time. You could both be teaching and doing classroom management.
Uh-huh.
Or you could have one person doing classroom management and one person teaching.
Right.
So
there's the 6. Yeah, that's great. There's the 6 main ones that we learned about in the reading from a long time ago, that were teaching, splitting the class into 2, 1 teach, 1 observe. Any other teams remember the other ones?
Station?
Station.
Station, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So one teach, one observe is a common one, but maybe not the most effective. One teach, one assist. So one person is going around and helping the people who need extra help. Parallel teaching, 2 things going on at the same time. Station teaching, 3 or 4 different things going on at the same time and the students rotate. Alternative teaching is 2 different things going on. And then team teaching is when it's sort of like 2 teachers, 2 bodies, 1 mind for the teaching. So these can be good to remember when you're teaching, that it doesn't always have to be one thing, and you can mix it up sometimes, but not necessarily try to do all of them. They all have their pros and cons. All right. Who's next?
Winslow and I can be Yoshi.
Okay. Hold on. Yoshi is this guy? 6? Right. All right, 5. Okay, let's do it.
It should go to the next one automatically. Eeh.
Wait, let's roll again. The next, let's skip ahead to this one. Ha!
One teach, one observe.
These are not okay. So if you have any problems with this PowerPoint, you should talk to Matt.
Go to the green tunnel again. Maybe
Okay.
No. Or the question mark.
And in the back,
There we go.
back to board. Okay. Sorry.
And Megan can't see you guys, by the way.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
sure.
Okay. So who is this? Winslow, and this is Yoshi.
Lauren, was it your turn?
Oh yes, it's Winslow and myself. So like if you have like a class like song that you like start at the beginning, or like a welcoming question. I know one advisor did like just like a physical warm up to get the students like their blood pumping and like really excited for the class. Winslow.
You can go over like, oh, we have double sound here. Okay. You can go over like old kind of sentence structures, like how's the weather, and you can just kind of hit on main sentences that they know how to respond to based on like what the day is like actually today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great. So sometimes it's nice to have a little bit of a routine so that the kids know what to expect, but also a little bit of variety can be good too. So don't ask what's the weather every single day. Because you'll get a lot of it's hot every single day. But you get, things like physical activities or songs or questions. Any other team want to add to that? Any good examples that you've seen? Warm-ups. Okay, that's fine. All right, do you have one more team?
I think Jake and Jennifer haven't gone yet.
Yeah, what do you want to be?
Jennifer, are you still there? I know you were having
Yes,
problems
I
with
am.
connection. Okay, great. There you are. I see you.
Which ones are still there?
1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
I have no preference.
Biggest decision you'll make today.
I don't know. Like all the good ones have been taken. Bowser's kind of evil, so maybe not him. I don't know. Mario okay with you?
Sure.
I will be Mario.
Yeah, the classic. And we're going to 5, 4. What does CLIL stand for?
I think it's isn't it content
Uh-huh.
and language integrated learning?
Excellent. Yeah.
Nice.
All right. So CLIL, we're going to talk about a lot more on Monday. Just so that we have an idea, how many of you have done CLIL last year or whenever you were teaching? I know Jake said he did. And Winslow as well?
Yeah, sometimes.
Who else has done some CLIL?
Lauren's done it.
Me too.
Okay. Cool. So maybe we'll be using your knowledge as well on Monday. All right. So we're back to this guy. You guys ready? Team Taidong? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Can we tap in Ina and Ray?
Huh? Name 2 benefits of learning your students' names.
They're definitely more engaged and want to learn.
You
And
can. Oh, I said want to learn, but you can. I was gonna say like, it's good for obviously calling on them instead of just pointing and being like you. But even like when their hands are not raised, like that's when it's like even better because then you can like see if someone is like not looking like they're following, then you can call them by name to like make sure that things are like that they're that kind of focuses them back in, make sure that they're present. So
great. Yeah. So building rapport, increasing student engagement. Especially with elementary, they might not know their own English name yet. Even in junior high, some of my students didn't seem to remember their own name. But yeah, calling on them to show that you care about them. Even if you have 1,000 students, still teach with a teaching chart, a seating chart with their name so that you can like, at least in that moment, you can go and check that that's Susie and that's Billy and call on them by their names. All right. And then, was it Yoshi that's next? What is one model of co-teaching? So we already talked about the 6 models that you would like to challenge yourself to use more of, and when could you use it? So they were like parallel teaching and station teaching, one teach, one assist.
Is that for Winslow and Lauren?
Yes, I think so.
I mean, for me, I definitely want to try using parallel teaching more. We used a little bit when I was in university, and I think it's really helpful for like students that may be really struggling with something, because then it doesn't like put them into so much pressure. Because I've had a lot of students like their classmates will give them a really hard time if they have no idea what's going on. So it's just like a safe way. That and like I guess like station teaching for kind of the similar reasons, being able to work with them in smaller groups.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing, especially station, because I've never done stations really before. And also because I think it gets everybody active, which is really important and I think much better for learning.
Yeah, I agree. Station teaching is not something you're probably going to be able to use every day, and it's a lot of effort sometimes, but it can be a very exciting lesson, maybe for a review day or for when you have a little bit of extra time or for like a holiday. You could have one like for Christmas or Valentine's or Halloween or whatever holiday that they want you to prepare something for. You could have a station with something about writing and something about drawing or reading or something like that. And then they can get really excited to do those things. Anyone else have an answer to this one? There's no correct answer. Any kinds of teaching model that you wished you could use more of? Co-teaching model. or last year was perfect? You don't need to change anything.
I kind of want to try parallel teaching only because we usually either like we switch off or we do like station. So like to be teaching together but like separately. I think that's something that could be also because I mean my school, our classes are like the class size is pretty small. So to split them up even further, maybe get them even more engaged.
Okay. Yeah. In a lot of classes, they're just together because they're the same age, but it doesn't mean that they have the same English ability. And so sometimes you might want to do parallel teaching when they're at different levels. So you could choose one group to give a particular challenge to, or choose one group to give more support for. Even in 8th grade, I had students who were struggling with the alphabet. So it was good to take the time to focus on their particular needs. And that's a nice thing about having 2 teachers, is you could have one devoted to meeting the students' needs, or certain students' needs, rather. Other comments on this one?
I'm hoping to get just some more general team teaching in, because I feel like last year was like really strictly one teach, one assist, like to the point that I would feel weird like chiming in if I had something to say while my LAT was leading. I'd be like, oh, like this could be really nice, but it really felt like when she was in front of the room, it was her time to speak and not mine, and then vice versa. Because there'd be times when I was in front of the room and I was like, oh, I wish I could like kind of get her help right now, but that would have felt weird too, because it was my time. And like the kind of her time, my time thing, I don't think it was as effective as like a more genuine team model where like we can bounce back and forth like more so during the lesson. So I want to try to have a conversation with my LATs about that like earlier on, hopefully, and see if they're more willing to do that.
Yeah, I think that's important. And that makes more use of having 2 teachers, because otherwise like you could just have one class with you and one class with your LAT. But having 2 teachers in the room can be very beneficial, but it can also be awkward or confusing to navigate that. But don't be afraid of like your teaching is not, you're not giving a performance to the kids, like where you have to know all your lines before you start. You can have those dialogues kind of in the middle of class too. Like you can, don't spend 15 minutes having a conversation with your LAT about what you should do next, but you can ask in the middle of class, like, hey, should I do this or this? Or like, hey, can you help me with this? Or could you explain that in Chinese? You might sometimes want. Those kinds of or like, do you mind if I say this? Or like, I could get, like, you could offer, like, I could tell a story about that or something, if, and then they could, in the moment, they could decide whether they don't have time or they do have time for something like that.
Yeah.
Does anyone else have experiences like that, or good or bad? With
Yes, I had a very similar situation as Sean with one of my co-teachers, that she definitely prefers to solo teach.
Mm-hmm.
So we would do a lot more of that, especially as the year went on. And I think I like it sometimes, but like Sean said, sometimes I think it would be helpful, especially when the classes are bigger, to be able to either co-teach, like tandem teach the whole time, or to be able to split the class into smaller groups.
Right. And some LATs might feel like they don't want to give you too much work and they don't know what you're willing to do. So you can also like speak up and say, like, I want to contribute more, like, how can I help with this activity? Or you're planning for tomorrow and it sounds like your LAT is going to be doing most of the teaching. You can like speak up in that moment too and say, like, okay, what would you like me to be doing? Like, could I do something with a smaller group of kids, or could I, because if you ask, like, what would you like me to be doing? And the answer is nothing, then that's not the end of the world, but it's a sign that maybe you should discuss a little bit more about what ways that you can help each other and the students. All right. Okay. Who's next? This guy. What's the mushrooms guy's name? I don't remember.
That's Toad.
Toad. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And who's Toad?
It's Aldina and Emma.
Aldina and Emma. What is the difference between a learning objective and an outcome?
Aldina.
I
know. Yeah.
Okay. Like a goal for learning and the class versus like what actually happens.
Okay.
I don't know. I feel like it's like self-explanatory, but I don't know how to explain it.
Can you give an example of either one?
I guess like if you're with first graders and the goal or the objective was to learn like JKL for the day, and then the outcome is that they learn JKL or they end up learning only J.
Sort of. Anyone else have anything?
Okay, what do you think, Emma? I'll just stop talking.
I think close.
I'm sure objective is like Jen said, students will be able to students will be able to identify the letters J, K, and L. I don't know what an outcome is.
Anyone else want to add anything? Right. So an objective is your lesson goal. So basically what Aldina was saying. So students will be able to, and then your outcome is something that you can measure what they actually learned. And why is it important to have an objective when you're teaching? To anyone?
It's measurable, so you can really tell, like when you're planning the year or planning the week even, you can tell where it's going instead of just like, maybe we'll learn something about the alphabet. So
yeah, so when you're teaching, you should always know why you're doing what you're doing. And maybe your objective is for one activity is just to get to know the students or just to spend a few minutes to get them more relaxed at the beginning of class. And maybe it has nothing to do with English, but you should know that that's your objective. So don't do a 20-minute activity where the only point is just to have fun when you think you should be able to verbalize why you're doing each thing that you're doing, not just to fill the time or to finish the class. And then once you know why you're doing it, then the details become a lot easier. They're not necessarily all there for you already, but they become easier. Mario, and when Mario goes to this exclamation point, then that's exciting as well. Give 2 quality non-FSE or non-Fulbright resources of lesson activities and ideas. So if you want some ideas, what websites you go to or what other place you go to that isn't from Fulbright. This is Jen and Jake.
Yes, I'm here. I'm just trying to think what I use that's not Fulbright. I mean, we tend to use Kahoot and Pagamo a lot, but those are also
What was it?
Kahoot and Pagamo.
Okay.
But we actually have a really hard time with like using technology in our school because we only have like students there's only have like 1 or 2 sets that like 12 homerooms are sharing, and then also our connection. So that's also, and it's a little frustrating at times because then like my LET would notify me like right beforehand, like just like the period before, like, oh, we're gonna do this for this lesson, and then when things don't really work out, we don't have like a backup plan, and then we just wait there for 15 minutes thinking of like. Sometimes I would try to have like other just like not so much like a game, but like an activity, like a review thing, just to kill time with. But that's always something like I wish to have more like activities and ideas like during those kind of awkward period where like we don't know how to proceed.
It's nice to have kind of a bag of tricks that you can use, like especially something low prep that you can use at any moment, with maybe just one piece of paper or with a few resources that they already have. Does anybody have any good examples of specific activities that they can use on a minute's notice? If you have like 5 minutes to kill at the end of class, or you're waiting for some technology or something. I guess it depends also on the age of the students. But reviewing vocabulary with flashcards or charades or Pictionary is a quick activity that you don't need any preparation for. In junior high, they like bingo a lot with vocabulary words, and you can make them say a sentence to get their word, like use the word in a sentence to be able to check that box off. And there's a lot of other quick activity ideas. Anyone else have any resources of lesson ideas or activities that they like to use? We recommend American English from the US State Department. Has a lot of good lesson plans and activity ideas, some that don't have any materials needed and some that do. And the British Council also has a lot of good resources. And of course, Fulbright does as well.
Lauren, did you want to share something?
Yeah, I don't know if this was already said, but I found literally just asking previous ETAs or other cohort members, like, hey, we're in this section, like, what did you do for it? Honestly, like, I'd be excited to tell people if a lesson went really, really well, or even if it crashed and burned, I'd be like, I loved using this activity for like this section of the book. It worked really well incorporating this and this, and just like give them my materials, because I found it's much easier to do it together.
Yes, for sure. And sometimes even if it didn't go that well for you, you can imagine how it would have gone if you had done some things differently. And you can, when you pass on the information, you can make it even better. And so, yeah, trial and error and helping each other is great. So don't forget to reach out to each other. And I mean, we have the whole Fulbright group is very big. Your cohort might be relatively small, but you can reach out to other members in the Eastern region, or to advisors, or to other. All right, so you've landed on this triangle, which means we have to press the fireball until you say stop. And if you're lucky, you can stay. And if you're not, you have to go back to the start. So when would you like me to stop? This is Mario. This is Lauren. And tell me when to stop.
Stop.
Yay, you're safe. Okay, stay there. And we're back to this guy. When are you?
Oh, only one.
It's okay, you're in the lead. Yeah, no correct answer.
Being a resource to the ETAs that will hopefully be joining us so soon, telling them what they can do in Taidong and helping them with like little questions about settling in and stuff.
What else? Anyone else have other ideas? Or you're all here just for the ETAs? I hope they come then. Yeah, within your school, obviously a teacher can be a friend, cultural ambassador. So even though you're not Fulbright anymore, you're still representing American culture to a lot of the people that you'll meet. What are 3 examples of classroom routines that you can use to improve classroom management? So I think this is Lauren and Winslow.
Having some. Oh wait, hold on. I completely forgot. Oh wait, we're shaking again.
Little earthquake in
I don't know if this counts as like a classroom routine, but certain things that we bring at the beginning of the semester and clarifying, like, when I say repeat after me, that means like everybody repeats after me, or like,
yeah,
can you say that again? And I think that that's kind of like a routine, that those are words that are not in the textbook, that they had to learn, and we had to practice those, and they became routines. And that really helped with classroom management and expectations when you don't have like a super high level of Chinese that you can fall back on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those things take time, and it might just, the first time it comes up, it's easier just to let it go or use Chinese or whatever. But if you spend the time to make sure that they do it right, and that you care that they do it right, and you're going to make them repeat it again and again, then it will help the rest of the semester go on, even if it takes 15 minutes in one of the first classes to go over some of those routines. What are some other examples, either from this team or someone else, of classroom routines?
Like an entrance or an exit ticket, like something so they know, like, boom, class has started, boom, class is over.
Yeah. Anything else? So yeah, so entry exit tickets, which could be, sometimes it's like a test, sometimes it's not, sometimes it's just a review or something. Some teachers like to greet students at the door, but it can depend on whether you're going to their class or vice versa. However you do the homework checks and the procedures, that might be more of your LET, but it's good to have a routine in terms of that. So not like, this time we're going to check, and the next time you forget about it, and then the next time they have to put it in the on the table. And it should be very clear to the students what is expected of them in terms of homework, in terms of the beginning of class, and classroom English and commands, like Winslow was saying. Or was that Lauren? I can't see you. Name tags are good at the beginning of the semester, especially, and going over the rules is important. And attention getters. What are some attention getters that you guys like? Or what is an example of an attention getter?
I just like clapping, like, and then the students can go.
Okay. Right, and then they get back to focus on
I think the clapping cuts through their voice as well,
mm-hmm.
without you having to feel like you have to scream.
Right. Yeah.
Sometimes when they're just way too rowdy and even clapping doesn't work, I do the quiet coyote. And I just stand there and wait. Yeah. Eventually, they're like, the teacher's like, I'm like, teacher's waiting. Hey.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ones. It's good to use them somewhat consistently. So maybe you don't need to have one that you stick to always, but not a different one every time because they won't necessarily know them. But also at the beginning of the semester, spend some time teaching teaching the attention getters. That could be a fun warm up. Having them repeat what they're supposed to repeat, whether it's clapping or saying something or the silent coyote. Or at Mushroom Guy. 2, everybody's going to the same spot. It's tight competition. All right, so one question was the model of co-teaching that you'd like to use more of. How about one that you'd like to use less of, that you maybe used too much last semester?
I already kind of answered this one earlier,
Yeah.
but my LET and I would like split the time in half, and I would like teach 20 minutes and she would teach 20 minutes, which is fine sometimes, but not all the time. I think there's 2 of us, so it'd be nice to like sometimes, especially collaborate and be able to split students up a little more.
Yeah. Great. Any other comments on this one?
I got trapped in the one teach, one observe, but like in a not constructive way. Like we weren't actually giving feedback. It was like, all right, you go chill in the back of the classroom. It's like, oh, okay. So definitely less of that.
Yeah. One teach, one observe can be helpful if you actually like use that observation to inform your teaching as together in the future, which is kind of difficult to do necessarily. I mean, it's definitely the easiest in terms of collaborating. You just say, okay, you do this, I do that, different times. Yeah, you can try to introduce some of the other ways to your LETs. All right, so can Mario catch up? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He can. Is this an objective or an outcome? Hello, my name is.
I like to say outcomes. So the objective would be students will be able to introduce themselves.
It is.
Damn. That's the objective.
Nice. Great.
Good job, John.
Oops. No. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, you've moved quite a bit ahead, but this thing says you might have to go back. So, this is again not necessarily a correct answer, but what are 3 things you should do on the first day of school?
Don't be late.
Good idea. Be early, even. Okay. What else?
Say hello to your directors and your principal and your LETs.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say not just names of your students, but like names of those people. Like maybe not every single faculty member at once, but on the first day. But just trying to chip away through the faculty room within the first week, get some names down.
Yeah. You might want to write them down too. Like sometimes people would introduce themselves on the first day, and then you have that name, but then you don't remember, and everybody's gonna know your name right away. That'd be harder. Anything else from other groups?
Maybe bring some gifts.
Yeah, good idea. So while you're in Taipei, you could get something from Taipei or something from the US if you brought something. Often something small, but to eat, even if I think it's more important to just the gesture is a lot more important than what it is. So something small might be a nice way to introduce yourself. Other ideas? No. Okay. Yeah, what you guys said. intro PowerPoint for your classes, so that they know who you are, and you can start to meet them, and then all the other things that I said. All right. Let's see. Tell me when to stop. Hi, and Sean.
All right, don't stop.
Stop.
-3.
Whoa.
Okay. How do I do that? Sorry. That's okay. You're still in the lead. And now, Yoshi. 1. How do you know when to move on in a lesson? So if you're doing an activity, what are some clues that you know you should move on to the next activity?
I think if, like, you know, I want to say 100% are on board, but I think that that's aiming a little too high. I would say, like, if you got, you know, 80 to 90, you know, 80% there with you and who can clearly answer quickly, and there are no confused looks and there's no fidgeting when you're asking them questions. I think that that's a good indication that you've got your kids at least in the right direction, going in the right direction. And then also, I found that sometimes if, you know, you get to that point and you're like trying to get that last 20%, and then the rest of the class kind of starts to disintegrate in front of your eyes, then you know it's time to move on.
Right. Exactly. So things like rowdiness or disruptions, students sleeping, students off task, like it's a fine balance, and there's not necessarily like the perfect moment, but it's also not necessarily, you know, my lesson plan said do this for 15 minutes, so I'm going to do it for 15 minutes. You should feel like your responsibility should be more towards your class than towards the lesson plan. So if things are not going well, then change it up. Or if it's going great, then maybe extend it for another 5 minutes if that feels right. Which takes some time to learn those skills, but come right. And this guy 2. All right, he's catching up. Describe a co-teaching experience that went really well. What factors do you think contributed to it going well? This is
Is this
13th? And this is Aldina and Emma.
Okay. I think my favorite co-teaching experiences are when we play some sort of elaborately planned game. So the students just have a ton of fun, and then it's really helpful to have 2 people in the room, because sometimes having fun can look a lot like shouting and getting too excited. So it's helpful to have like 2 people there to kind of make sure, okay, I'm really glad you're enjoying this, but let's make sure we're still like learning and being respectful of the classroom.
Okay, great. Yeah. Great. All right, should we do one more and call it a day? Mario has a chance to catch up. Back. And Mario pulls ahead if you can get this one right. What are 2 phonics activities that you like to use or want to try? So this is Jake and Jen. We had another question. What are 2 vocabulary teaching activities that you like to use or want to try? You can also answer that one if you prefer, since we don't have time for one of them.
I can answer one for a vocabulary thing. My semester was at a closed school for last semester, So we didn't have as many like pure phonics or vocabulary activities. But during one of my workshops, we learned this, or my fellow Zhanghua ETAs at the time and we learned this like memory game that involved Pokemon. And so it was like really simple like words. And it was a really complicated game actually, but like pretty much it was, God, I don't know if I can describe it. It was like, there was certain like Pokemon associated with like different like, I don't know, just common words, I guess. And like every round, like the objective would be slightly different, but it was like a memory thing. And I guess a mnemonic tool to just like attach certain words to those things, to the Pokemon. So I guess like the kids would be able to learn the vocabulary better.
You have a copy of
so
it you could share with everyone?
Sorry, what was that?
You have a copy of it that you could share with everyone? Kind of hard to imagine.
Yeah, I think it was, yeah. I think I have access to it, so I can.
Yeah, I think that would
I could probably send it to you. But yeah, it was one of the FET's, I guess, lessons or activities. So yeah, but it seemed pretty interesting. So maybe I'll try it this time.
Right. And one more for you guys to be in the lead.
I have a phonics activity that I really like. But sometimes it can get a little chaotic. We call it whistleblower, but it's technically just telephone. So like we split them into 2 teams. And this it's great for like review, like when they do like long vowel sound, short vowel sound review. And then I split them into 2 teams, and then I'll have like the flashcard in the back, and then I like show them what the word is, and then the person, so that person is the whistleblower, and then they have to pass it on. So it's like essentially it's telephone, but you can't let anyone hear it, and then the person in the front writes it on the board, and then the team that finished like gets to all of it the first, like they get the most points basically.
Great. Cool. And the kids like it?
Yeah.
Fun. All right. So Marielle is the final winner. All right. Thank you all for playing. I know that was it was a lot of different topics and not enough time to go into too much depth about each one, but hopefully that's kind of jogs your memory about some of the things that we need to be thinking about and doing for teaching. Any final comments, questions, concerns, complaints? No? All right. Well, we'll see you again on Monday and Tuesday.
Thank you.
So have a great weekend.
Thanks so much, Megan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Megan.
Thank you.
See everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.